Lili by Martin Sanders Whiteley. Chapter 19. To the Water. I'm not entirely sure how Carmilla took our embrace, but given the expression on her face when she walked in, it wasn't well. She made a small throat-clearing sound. I wondered what she could be clearing her throat of, but decided it was best not to think about it. Laura and I stood up, letting go of each other. I thought that Carmilla's entrance would make me emotional again, but Laura's embrace had restored much of my confidence. "Hello, Carmilla," I said. I was prepared to force a smile, but I realized that I didn't have to. Laura gave Carmilla an awkward smile and waved at her. I would say that if looks could kill, Laura and I would both be dead. But looks can kill, and Laura and I were already dead. She shook her head and made a waving motion as if to wave away the image in front of her eyes. "We'll talk about this later," she said. "We need to talk about the conversation I had with Maria." "Yes?" I responded. I wasn't sure where this was going. "The one you tried to listen in on." "Yes." I looked down at the floor. "This is going to be a lot all at once, but I'd best tell you everything now. I had heard stories about Count Dracula before, and stories about a female demon that must have been Maria. These stories were whispered amongst Styrian gossip in the later decades before I was staked. But there was also talk of another servant to the Count, a brother to this demon. I wondered if Maria knew anything about this. She told me that her brother fled to America to escape persecution. I'm planning to go find him. I want to make sure he hasn't been destroyed, or if he's dangerous, make sure he hasn't made too much of a mess. I mean to take Laura with me. I could feel my heart sinking. You're not planning on taking anyone else with you, are you? No. Too many immortals mean too much unwanted attention, as you've probably discovered. Besides, I haven't been alone with Laura for God knows how long now. Which can't be said of you. She looked disgusted with me. What did she think I had done? We hadn't been alone long enough for that. It was my turn to glare. "You're not going." Then I was up against the stone wall, Carmilla's rage-filled face in mine. Her hands held my arms in an iron-tight grip to prevent me from leaving, and the back of my head ached from where it had collided with the wall. "And why is that, exactly?" she spat. "Because I'm going. You can stay here. With Laura." The rage left Carmilla's body. Her eyes widened, not in shock or anger, but in disbelief. "Why?" she asked. Her voice had taken on a silky softness I hadn't heard before, as well as the shaky confusion of a small child. "Because I've been to America before, and I can probably blend in." "That's not what I mean. Why are you doing this for me? I thought you were in love with Laura, that you wanted to be with her." "I am. I do, but we love each other in a different way." "I'm not sure what you mean." "Earlier you were talking about passion. I thought I lacked passion, but I don't think so anymore. I think that we just have different kinds of passion." Carmilla ran her hand through her hair, coming up against a small tangle and flinching slightly, then letting her hand fall to her side. "You've lost me." "It's fine." It wasn't fine. I had come all this way because I wanted to be with Laura, but I wanted her to be happy. I could always come back. It's going to hurt, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice. "Love will have its sacrifices," said Carmilla, giggling slightly, as if she had just made an extremely clever joke. She wore a genuine smile of kindness. I think I'm starting to understand what you mean about passion. You mean to leave? Marius said, as she walked over to where we stood. I nodded. I could sense a sadness in her eyes that I wasn't entirely sure what to do with. I'm really sorry, I said, but blood and pain isn't my idea of love. I can't be with you. I could almost hear the words, but you're a vampire, echoing in the back of my mind. But Maria said nothing. A single bloody tear escaped her eye. It's going to hurt, she said, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice. Will you both stop reading my mind? I shouted, but with no real anger. Maria and Carmilla both grinned. I turned to Carmilla. Laura is the greatest friend I've ever had, but she belongs with you. Carmilla smiled, walking over to Laura, but I grabbed her hand before she reached Laura. Not to you. You understand? Carmilla raised an eyebrow once again. I have no idea what you're talking about, she grinned. I let go of Carmilla's hand. She walked over to Laura, putting an arm around her, affectionately, not possessively. I think we should live in the castle in Styria, said Laura, her eyes completely locked on Carmilla's. I agree, said Carmilla, returning the look. Not to break up the moment, but I want to come with you, said Lucy, stepping towards the couple. Why? Asked Carmilla and Laura simultaneously. Because from what I can remember, Van Helsing is trapped in your castle, scared out of his mind. Or if he isn't, he's wandering around Styria somewhere. I'd like to have a little talk with him. As would I, said Mina, clasping Lucy's hand. A minorly malicious smile crept over Carmilla's lips. All right. Is this the same Von Helsing that staked my father? Asked Maria. Van Helsing, Lucy corrected gently, but yes. Then I'd like to come too, said the Countess. Me too, agreed Clarissa, still robed in dirt. I want to return to the woods. I miss my wolf pack. Cassie stood in the corner of the room, not saying anything. What about you, Cassie? I asked. I want to come with you, she said. She walked up to me and looked into my eyes. For my entire life, I've believed there was something wrong with me. But now I know that's not true. She looked down at her feet. Well, besides the whole killing a bunch of strangers thing, she added in a mental aside to me. It's okay if I come with you? I smiled at Cassie. Her kitten eyes looked up into my eyes. Of course it is, I said. I could feel a warmth inside me. Not sure what else to say, I nodded to everyone as I turned towards the door. Well, goodbye. Wait, shouted Laura, rushing towards me and almost knocking me over with the hug that followed. It didn't last an eternity, but it filled me with the same warm glow. Then we said our final goodbyes, and I walked with Cassie towards the docks to buy a boat. There was a sad emptiness to leaving Laura, but I still felt that I had made the right choice. Chapter 20. New Horizons. Once on the boat, a small thing the right size for both of us, we set a course for America. I would always love Laura, but I had forgotten how much I loved the rest of my new family. I looked over at Cassie, and I felt the same warm glow that I had missed, filling me up. And we set out on the water to live. Chapter 21. A minor amendment. Well, perhaps live isn't the best word to use.